Hi there, and these comments are for a student you're using my free TOEFL writing evaluation service, right? So I'm getting ready to score your essay. So you completed two different writing practice tests, an integrated writing practice test and an independent writing practice test. Now, with this free service, I only give free feedback on one essay. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of time, a lot of thought to provide feedback on writing to help students improve. So I'm going to just focus in one area for today. Okay, let me make sure I have. Okay, here's the writing rubrics. I scored your essay in the 2 range. Actually, here. So I'm going to say limited development in response to the topic. I think that's a problem. Inadequate organization or connection of ideas. Noticeably inappropriate choice of words or word forms, accumulation of errors. So this best describes your writing right now. Okay, so here's what you wrote. So I think 17 points out of 30 is probably pretty accurate. Okay, so first of all, I recommend that you improve this to about 100 words, and you need a more specific thesis here. And the problem is, you say people started having confusion between teaching and babysitting. Well, how does that relate to why teachers should be paid according to how much your students learn? And I just don't see the connection. So that's a problem. So I think you need a more focused thesis. The thesis needs to be very clear, very precise, and then each topic of each body paragraph needs to kind of further illustrate that point you've mentioned in the thesis. You need to develop that in a body paragraph, right? So so if I corrected this paragraph, we might say a teacher, or we can say, let's get rid of a teacher, and this is where your grammar is limited. An employee, just like any other, and we'll change this to teachers need motivation, and there's no greater motivation than money. Then you can combine these two and say which produces professional teachers. You got to change whom to who, because you're using a subject relative pronoun here, who will help their students in every possible way, and those who, for whatever reason, do not perform well will be forced to leave the job due to the lower payment compared to their peers. So now, with the next one, we have one particular school in my country is known for its outstanding educators, as well as, you want to say, just graduates. But it had payment issues. This is where you need to end the sentence right here, right? A lot of teachers were stuck with initial payment for 6 years or more. I'm going to say their initial salary, I think, is better. Better word here. Maybe put a semicolon here so you don't have what's called a comma splice. If you're not sure, go to Google. What is a comma splice in academic writing? This led to teachers asking for more, taking part-time jobs, and eventually leaving the job to drive a taxi. And I don't know. I think the example you're giving, it doesn't really illustrate this idea of motivation. So the example needs to be much more specific, and it needs to clearly illustrate the point you're trying to prove within that paragraph. So I don't think this or any one of your paragraphs are very unified. So in order to have good writing, you need two things. You need coherence and you need cohesion. So coherence means there is an overall connectedness of your ideas from the beginning to the end of the essay. Coherence can be defined as having what we call paragraph unity, which means you need clearly marked topic sentences and relevant supporting details. I don't think you really do very well in those areas here. And you noticed I made quite a few corrections. And if I read through the whole thing, I'd have to really rewrite it from scratch to make this essay work. It's kind of like building a house on a faulty foundation. You have to have the structure for the essay first, and then you can organize and provide supporting details after that. So that's it. And thank you for doing this writing practice test. I think that my score is pretty accurate. 2.5 out of 5, or 17 points out of 30. Right? Now, if you're interested, you can email me if you want. If you want to know exactly what you need to do to make this essay score 5 out of 5, right, or 30 points out of 30, I can spend an hour with you. It'll take about an hour, and I can rewrite this whole essay and then show you what you need to do in order to improve both your organization, your development, and then your grammatical correctness. I can show you what changes you need to make in those three areas. So if you want a TOEFL private lesson, you know what? I'll put the link into the email for you just in case you decide to do that. All right, thank you.